Hey, good morning. Sorry I'm a little bit late. We were, oh no, there's Jack. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, good morning, good morning. I'm like reading comments from the, Mike, I'm just reading, good morning, Mike on Rod, I just read your comment. I'm so excited about the ideas that folks, left on the, yeah, he's there. Where are you, Jack? Jack, want to come say hi? Yes? No? Maybe? No, he's got his own things he's going. He's doing his own thing. There's animals outside that he does not think need to be there. No one's supposed to be here. Hey, it's Arthur Rat's first time on YouNow. Welcome, Arthur Rat. It's great to have you here. Jesse Fruworth, good morning. Good morning, Kearney V. Who else is that? Yep. So excited. Thank you for the 50 likes. So thrilled to have y'all on this morning. It's my last day in Brooklyn before heading back to Detroit, where I'll be getting the house ready for basically get summer guest and then jumping into the 22nd International Pedagogy and Theater of the Oppressed Conference. I can't believe that actually happened, is happening, but it's actually happening. Good morning. Good morning, Tom Hall. I hope you're all well. How's everyone? Can you all hear me okay? Thank you for the 400 likes, Mike, on Raw. I'm hoping everyone can hear me. If you can just like hit me up on your way back. I certainly am going to hit you up, but I'm going to tell you this. When I'm rolling through your neck of the woods tomorrow, you'll be asleep. I could almost guarantee. I'm thinking about getting out at 4 o'clock in the morning only because I was going to try to actually stop in your neck of the woods and try to grab a coffee with you. Mad Blender I'm talking to because it's on the way, but I have to leave so early. I'm leaving at 4 in the morning. So I'm guessing by the time I'm moving through your neck of the woods, it'll be about 5:30 in the morning. So I don't know. But I have to get back because we're having our last meeting. We've been meeting on Monday evenings regularly, and so we've ramped things up, and the last meeting of the local planning team is tomorrow at 6. So I'm really trying to be in Detroit for that last meeting. In fact, we've pushed it back to 6 o'clock in the hopes that I could make it in 13 hours. So that's why I'm leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's why I'm leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning, hoping to get there. Yeah, I don't think I'll be, but I'll be, it won't be the last time I'm coming through. I'll be making some trips through, during the summer at least. I'll be making one trip back during the summer, and I'll be back in Brooklyn in the fall. I actually have a teaching job in New York City, so I'll be teaching two courses. So, hey, the Flim Face, welcome. Okay, so I'm hoping that all these folks that are here, good morning, Nancy Marie. I hope that folks who are here are going to be jumping on to guest. Flim Face, I'm so excited to have you on. This would be the first opportunity for us to actually speak, so I hope that you're, feeling up to maybe guesting. For sure. I don't know if you guys know the Phlegm Face, but the Phlegm Face is a vegan YouTuber that I've been following just, for the past couple of months. Makes really, really thoughtful videos and also a really amazing writer. I mean, I really love the writing that you've shared on your channel as well. So hope we get some of that. Hello, Ghost Cabbage. Just exciting folks are coming on. Emperor Trump. I'm a big fan of social justice. Welcome, Emperor Trump, you big fan of social justice. We'll see what wonderful things you have to share. I'll absolutely love to. Are you free in a few days? Listening to you as I'm finishing my dissertation. You're finishing your dissertation right now, which is your dissertation actually going to be the piece of writing? The pressure is real. Yeah, I guess so. But for some reason, writing on a deadline to me is like heaven. For some reason, that's when it's like well, what are you going to do? You got to do it, so you just do it. But I know that that's not true for everyone. I want to show illegal Mexican social justice by putting them on the other side of my wall. Oh, that's so sweet, Emperor Trump. Um, yes, 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 yes. You know what's so interesting is that the Phlegm Face is talking about toilet culture, following up on the anxieties of working class who end up homeless. Really interesting is that you talked about that on your channel, and for some reason it kind of went into my subconscious, and I keep looking for that movie. I keep thinking it was like a movie that I heard about, and I've been like looking for it. And then like there's a TV series that has something that's like similarly connected, and I was like, yeah, I've heard about that, but it's not. It's your book. It's your book. And so like now your book lives in my mind as like this thing that, I've been waiting for. So yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to that. Mike, I would always put off my writing assignments until the day before it was due. The pressure helped get it done for me. Yeah, I'm gonna say I probably have handed in more short stories and things like that. I would say I probably don't wait. Like I give myself artificial deadlines now, or I don't want to call them artificial deadlines, but I tell people things will be done well before they, actually need to be done. So like if I'm writing a play, I'll have the first draft, say, not an arbitrary date, but like say there's going to be some kind of a meeting of people who are related to the project, and I'll tell them that I'll have a script ready for that day so that we can have a discussion, and then it'll force me to have at least a first draft. And then, obviously, as a playwright, the play never has to be done. It just has to be at a place where actors can start, fiddling around with it, and other folks can start fiddling around with it. What's the topic? So I believe now that we're getting questions specifically, Phlegm Face, about your book. So that is a reason, I think, for you to jump on and maybe talk to people, to introduce yourself to some people who are, who come and sit on this live stream and talk about your piece and talk about other things. We jumped in. Wow, I guess I'm feeling really excited today because I'm blah, 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 and I haven't even oriented you. So for those of you joining, just to let you know, I've been in Brooklyn. I just finished producing a play, directing a play, and the play did well. I'll be posting some clips. I have some clips, and in fact, I think tomorrow you guys are going to get a clip from the show, because I'll be traveling for the entire day, so I won't be able to post anything live, and so that will give you guys something. Or you won't get anything tomorrow from me on the YouTube channel. But I've spent the entire week talking about identity politics, and have made 4 videos now, four videos now about identity politics from some pretty, looking through some pretty different lenses, and I'm hoping that some of you have had an opportunity to look at those. Yesterday I presented the idea of identity politics very specifically through the vegan lens. We looked at it through lenses of groups that have normally been considered sort of part of the dominant culture, or like the people who are the gatekeepers for dominant culture. And who are now starting to feel themselves kind of pushed out and marginalized. We talked about it, defining identity politics and what that means for folks. And I even gave an example of someone talking about identity politics from a really more clinical perspective, almost a science perspective. And so I hope that some of you will be interested in talking about that, or maybe not. Mr. Papacalat, what social justice topics do you talk about? I don't know. What, y'all? We're talking about identity politics. Been talking about identity politics all week. If you want, you can go and you can check out my YouTube channel. It's just my name, and you can see what the recent videos are. I talk a lot about. I guess I talk about politics, do some talk about race. I do talk, just generally about like social issues and how people try to address them. Um, it's not, my work is most of my work isn't YouTube, so it's something that I kind of just do to document where I am right now in terms of my work. So hopefully talk about enough things to keep people interested. You have Sandalwood's 5. Hello, good morning. Have you commented the skeptic feminist situation? I don't know. I don't really know what that is. I'm interested. Please say more. Say more about that. Do you write plays then? If so, what style do you take on? And I don't know if that's directed, if the Phlegm Face is directing that question at me. I generally, I'm a theater of the oppressed practitioner, and the idea of the work that I do is I'm usually taking themes, having groups of people work on themes that are important to them, and then turning those ideas into plays and presenting those within the context of their own communities to start discussions about those issues. So the plays that I work on reflect that. So I'm usually looking at the issues that have come up again and again in workshops or in conversations within that community context. And then the plays hopefully will bring in more information and then also create the space for a dialogue about whatever the subject matter is. And so last year I did a play about disaster recovery because in that community there had been a natural disaster, and it was something that people were dealing with. And so looking at where some of the issues were still present, where people still felt like there were needs that were not being met within the community, and how just like the fabric of the community had been either unraveled or been made stronger. And then based on that, there seemed to be an interest in having a deeper conversation about how race played a part in that. And so this year we just did a piece called Ready, Set, Go Race, and it was just really talking about race and how race was constructed in the United States. And so then we had like these really, I feel, meaningful conversations. And the play was only about an hour long, and so then we would have these like 20, 30, 40-minute conversations after the play that were kind of cool. So yeah. Tap to see Hannah Baker. Hello. So race is a construct to you. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't think race is always, race is a word. Race is a word. You can run a race, there could be like a political race. And then there's this thing that's like race that has changed in its meaning over time. And, it's been used to talk about your family could be your race. Where you come from could be your race. Your language could be your race. Your religion could be your race. Like over time, all of these different things, right? And so the word itself and the meaning of that word is something that's decided by people. So, pretty much everything as a concept is a constructed concept, because what falls within the realm of that particular concept is decided by people, right? So like as vegans, veganism is a concept, right? And we decide what fits within that concept. So, we might say that, okay, it's about people who eat a certain way. That is what veganism is. And then there are other people who want a broader definition of veganism. Some people want a narrower definition. So it's a construct. So yeah, race is a construct in that way, I think. What do you guys think? Sandalwoods 5 says, scientists say race is a social construct. It doesn't mean there's no other factors. Ghost Cabbage says, it's a social construct. Mr. Papa Coca-Lot says, I think race is identity politics is meaning your ethnicity. I think race in identity politics is meaning your ethnicity. It's interesting take. Arthur R says, bye Phlegm, good luck with your dissertation. So bye Arthur Rat. And I guess Phlegm Face is dashing off, and we're not going to get to have some guesting, but hopefully we'll have some soon. So the melanin difference of people is a construct, Cabbage. And so that, I guess the idea there is like that race is melanin difference, which is may or may not mean race, right? That's what some people have decided means race, but to other people, it doesn't mean race, because you can have a huge melanin difference between people who are all considered black. You can have people who are considered black who have like no, almost no melanin, who pass as white, right? Plant Gold says, how about the song "The Trees" by Rush? It's about race, but they use trees instead of people. Awesome song. I'll have to check that out. It's Lit Leanne's first time on YouNow. Welcome, Lit Leanne. Ghost Cabbage says, hair, eye color are caused by melanin differences too. Are blondes a separate race? Good point. Good point. Arthur R says, no, I'm here. Phlegm is dashing. Yeah, I noticed that, and how did I miss it? Faux pas. So I'm on the opposing viewpoint of you guys. Mr. Papa Cocolot, Mr. Papa Cocolot, yep, Papa Cocolot, says, I'm on the opposing view of you guys. It sounds like there's actually a few different viewpoints that are being discussed here as far as race, right? So Arthur R says, I hate Rush. Well, okay. ContraPoints did a good video on race. Everyone should watch it. I actually watched a couple of ContraPoints videos and have enjoyed them. So I think I will check that out. Thanks, Sandalwoods5, for that recommendation. Jesse is on. Jesse Fruworth says, Mr. Papacalat, watch ContraPoints so you can come back and ask deeper questions. Okay. And there's a link there. Thanks, Jesse, for sharing the link to I believe this is the ContraPoints video on race. I'm going to actually copy it here for myself and be able to go back and watch that later. Also want to know what you guys thought about a whole week series on one particular topic, because I don't tend to go very deep in my videos, just because I try to keep them pretty simple, but I felt like just by bringing up, different lenses over the course of a week, it was a way to, go a little bit deeper than I might normally. So I'd love to know what you guys think about that. I don't think it's so simple. Mad Blender, I missed something. What was it that you were saying you don't think is so simple? Plant Gold says, race is a social construct. Do dogs see breed types? No, they just see dogs. Well, I don't know. Actually, my dog does respond differently based on the size of the dog, so I don't know. I don't know if that relates to what we're talking about. Also, the constructs of race differ in different countries. Right, exactly. And the particular construction of race that I was talking about in terms of the play that I wrote was the way race was constructed specifically in the United States, and particularly the idea of whiteness, which was completely made up. Hello, Del E. Let's see. I was just asking a question, Jesse. No need to be distracted. We're not going to even go there with that. I'm sure you guys can manage that between yourselves. Mad Blender, I like how you address one topic for a whole week. Okay, so that's one person. I like the week on identity politics. Cool. Week, yes. I feel, okay, I'm not going into that. Capture the moment. Okay, has unnatural vegan situation been forgotten? Has the unnatural vegan situation been forgotten? Are you talking about the whole question of intersectionality? Sandalwoods5, why are you bringing that up? You trying to start something? No, I hope that there was a clearer understanding of where other people were coming from when they talked about intersectionality, which, again, using intersectionality, it's like, you can use it, you cannot use it. It's like, if you prefer to use, a wrench as a hammer, if it gets the job done, then use it. It's useful to you, right? I'm not going to tell you not to use your wrench as a hammer if it's getting the job done. If you have the resources to get your hands on a hammer and you want to use a hammer, it might, because of the way a hammer is designed, it might do a good job of getting that nail into the piece of wood, right? But it really depends on what the person needs that tool for. And intersectionality being a tool like any other tool. If you have no use for it, if you have nothing to apply it to, it is going to be a useless, meaningless tool for you. It's going to be totally meaningless. And so for unnatural vegan to say, I think that intersectionality is useless. I think the problem with where the position that Unnatural Vegan took was they were saying that this tool was useless universally, in a kind of universal way, maybe not intending to do so, but what they ended up doing was like saying that the tool was useless in a universal way because they had seen it misapplied. And that I just thought was silly, because we know Unnatural Vegan is, fully capable of going and researching something, and could have very easily in a video about intersectionality said, hey, this is what intersectionality, this is what it was, how it was conceived, this was the meaning that it has, this is how that meaning has shifted over years, this is how it is misapplied, in my opinion, right? But that's not what happened. It was just, oh, this intersectionality is a dirty word, and if you use it, then you're stupid. Or maybe that's just how I took it. But hopefully there were enough people who were able to go deeper and do some research for themselves and discover that it was, possibly a useful tool. I'm not saying anybody has to use it. You're certainly not a bad person if you don't, embrace intersectionality. Some people are just, better at kind of looking at an issue and just working on that issue. And that's great, because then there are going to be people who are, I direct plays, right? And as a director, I have to think about everyone. I have to think about the actors. I have to think about the designers. I have to think about the venue. I have to think about the audience. I have to think about how all of these things are going to work together to create an experience that is going to have some value to a certain group of people at a certain point in time. If I'm an actor, I can just focus on my role. I can learn my lines and learn my blocking and try to figure out how to move and speak in a way that conveys the emotions that make sense. And that's perfectly fine. That actor does not have to take on the responsibility of the director who is looking at everything. And, neither does anyone else who's part of that creative team. And so, for an actor to, say, well, I think it's stupid the way why does the director have to think about so much? It would be foolish for that actor to say that, right? Because it's not that actor's, it's not that actor's job. And so it's not useful for that actor to have the same tools or use the same tools that a director uses. And this can be applied, I'm certain, to anything in life. It can be applied to, if you're looking at, politics, for example. Politics is concerned with the needs of the masses. So for a politician, they need to look at lots of different things, right? They need to look at how different groups of people, based on their resources, are going to be able to take advantage of things that are intended for public use, right? So it's going to be really important for a politician to have a deeper understanding of the way things and departments work together, right? So this is why Donald Trump, for example, as the president, has to hire someone to be, to work for the Department of State and work for the Department of Labor, right? He has to be concerned with all of these things. Intersectionality is, to me, is one of those tools that's like that. If your job requires you to have an intersectional way to look at things and the way that different things intersect, then that's going to be useful to you, right? And it's specifically in terms of social justice. It might be a useful tool. If that's not your concern, then don't worry about it. So much has gone by. Juice is here. Hello, Juice. What did you miss? Not a lot. So basically, we've been doing some warming up. We did some talk about. Well, we were just talking a little bit about the whole unnatural vegan thing, the whole unnatural vegan situation. And I don't know, did we ever get the other video? Now I bet there's going to be another unnatural vegan video about intersectionality. But I think there were supposed to be like 3 videos that got made to follow up. I think 2 of the 3 follow-up videos ended up being made. And I don't know if we're still waiting on a 3rd or if people lost interest, and so now we won't see any more from that. Matt Blender saying Jessie Fruworth, I think she needs to do some real research, but I'm not sure what you guys are referring to. I missed some things. And then on the other video, she said she had another video coming. Yeah, so you guys are talking about the same thing that I was running my mouth about. I don't think he was trying to be disrespectful. I think it's just a complex topic. Yeah, I think you guys worked that stuff out. No, there's one more coming, Reg. I was just saying she recently did a video demonstrating a pro-intersectional approach. How interesting! I want to see that video. I'd love to see that video. Do a week when you have a week's worth of things to say on a topic. Yeah, I guess that's really how it will work. I won't necessarily try to do a week on everything. I really do think that identity politics was just cropping up so much in, it was, and I'm not saying that people were necessarily using the term identity politics, but there was a lot of resistance to people talking about special needs groups. I just made this claw. I wonder what that means. I think, Tom, this claw that I just made is for you. I don't know what happened. I don't know what you said that triggered me into making this claw, but I've got a claw for you. So here, it's yours. You can use it for something. And then she talked about how she had another video coming, bashing intersectionality. Interesting. Reg, how do you feel the Roar Within 3 video regarding veganism? So, Juice, I did not watch the Roar Within's video. I watched one of your videos on the Roar Within where clearly you were not happy with that, with that particular video, that response. And I don't know if your response to the Roar Within was really all about the Roar Within, or if it was about what you were recognizing as a pattern in the vegan community on YouTube of people coming out and, basically instead of just saying, hey, I'm rethinking this. I don't know if veganism is right for me. They're spending a lot of time kind of like tearfully explaining why, they've been injured by veganism in the vegan community just to make sense of it. Hey, Just Glowing Me, good morning. Sandalwoods5 says, yeah, I suppose she has a video coming about hard science versus soft science. Like, what does that mean? What is hard science versus soft science? I'm guessing soft science is the science that deals with things that, like the social sciences, right? That deal with the things that if we don't deal with them, we'll be in trouble, right? If we don't deal with society, for example, if we don't deal with the interworkings of human beings and the interworkings of the planet in general, which would be considered a soft science, but if we don't deal with those things, we get into trouble, right? I think that's what people talk about when they say the soft sciences anyway, but it'll be the hard sciences versus the soft sciences. I just displayed some contempt prior to investigation. I'm going to try not to have too much contempt before the video gets made, but it's what it is. Oh, it's what it is. I don't know if you guys checked. Did you check out the Daniel Estrada, 2 Daniel Estrada videos that I posted links to? I don't know if folks did, but they were just so, because we're talking about, social location, right? We're talking about social identity and the importance of social identity. But in those videos, Daniel Estrada looks at social identity in a very scientific way, just like talking about how, the frontal lobe, how information gets stored, and that information sets each one of us within the context of the world we live in, and our understanding of ourselves, our understanding of others, our understanding of the way others see us. So those things, are kind of cool. Thank you for the applause, Arthur Rat. Just Going Me is here. What's going on? Hello. I'm trying to think. Ghost Cabbage, what do you think of the videos from YouTube vegans who don't believe that mental illnesses like clinical depression exist? I'd be like, I don't know. What do I think of flat earthers? I don't know. It's a great question. I mean, I guess when you say what do you think is like what we want to get into a discussion about that, and I think it's really meaningful. What I mean, when your skepticism is to a point where like the mountains of evidence, right? The mountains of evidence that something is clear, something is happening. What it actually is, who knows what it really is. But something is going on. Something in the way that we functions, in the way that we function, the way that we interact, our health, the way that we're able to make decisions that are for our best interest, and the way sometimes there are people who can't seem to quite get a grasp on what is required in their own life to stick to match their behavior with what's going to be good for them, like people who cut themselves. And what do you say about someone who just like cuts themselves, or people who harm themselves in ways? I don't want to get into a thing about what's normal and what's not normal, but what is maybe damaging to the instrument of the self. And so if someone's engaging in behavior that's damaging to the instrument of the self, and I know I do that, I know I do those things, and that person can't stop, that person, for whatever reason, is compelled to repeat and repeat, why not create a space in a profession that looks at those things and helps people understand those things? Do I want to call it necessarily mental illness? I don't know. But something is going on where that person their adaptation to their environment is one that is leading to their own, destruction. And so if they want to deal with that adaptation and they're seeking professional help to deal with that adaptation, then great. It's very easy to say, well, they should just get over it. Well, yes, of course, they should just get over it, but they're not able to. And so what's the harm in seeking help? I can't lift everything by myself. There are things that I can't do on my own in this world, and where I just need assistance. Whether I'm paying for that assistance or not is another question. But we're not designed well enough to be able to function on our own. Certainly not in the society as it exists right now. We certainly work great in groups. There are things that we can accomplish in groups that we can't accomplish on our own. And so why not include in that taking the care of ourselves, the care of ourselves. Oh, that's what it was. Sandalwood's 5. She did a video on Steph Sanjani and talked about vegans being exclusive to trans people, and other pops. I just Matt Blender. I'm guessing that we're talking about Unnatural Vegan doing a video about Steph Sanjati, which is really interesting because Unnatural Vegan was talking about another trans YouTube content creator on their channel and saying how that person was not vegan and the excuses that person gave for not being vegan. And Steph Sanjati turned around and explained that they had reached a conclusion that was not a logical way to think about the issue. And you want to call it being intersectional in their thinking, I don't know, or not, or whatever it was. But they came to the conclusion that they shouldn't blame animals for what human beings who are vegans choose to do, but then turned around and said, hey, if I'm going to be vegan for a month, can vegans dedicate themselves to supporting trans issues for a month, which is kind of cool. I don't know. I have to check out the video. So yes, that's it. Flat earthers might seek to sound interesting. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I've never walked the whole earth. I've never found the borders, right? So I can't say, I've never walked a complete, circle around the planet. If I had ever flown a complete loop around the planet, I could say with 100% certainty that flat earthers were just wrong. but I'm just going to say I doubt that the Earth is flat. Sorry, I know we're in another topic now. We're all over the place right now. We're all over the place. We're 38 minutes into this, and we've talked about so many things already. What food helps with depressive day? I'm going to the store. What would it be? Strawberries. Recommend me something. I don't know. Do you guys know of foods that make you feel better? Make you feel, I don't know, because depression isn't necessarily about sadness, right? And I think that there's some certain there's actually a video that someone made. I think it's Tailed Feature, who made a video response to a video that I made asking about, anti-SJWs, and I asked a whole bunch of questions, and then they made a response video to that, and I've been kind of following their channel. And at some point, I think we're going to end up doing some kind of a collaboration, Tailed Feature and I. But Tailed Feature also has a few videos talking about depression and people who are skeptical about the existence of depression. But in one of those videos, they talk about, people who confuse depression with just sadness. And I don't know what the correlation between depression and sadness might be. Jesse Fruworth says depression and sadness overlap a lot. Many people diagnosed ill are mostly just heartbroken. Arthur R says B6. So you're talking about vitamin B6 as something that might elevate people's moods. And they concluded that the entire universe is flat. Lord Poo Poo Head says, and they concluded the entire. Okay, which mapped out the Oh my goodness, I missed something about that was being said. Sandalwood's Kearney says berries and turmeric are great. Check out Dr. Greger's info on it. Hey, can you answer my question? And it's the niggest 25700. I missed your question. They're flying. People are responding so quickly that I'm missing half of the things that people are saying. I'm diagnosed with severe depression, but this is a sad day. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Sandalwood's 5. I bet that sucks. I'll link you. So, okay, thank you. Hold up. Sorry about my name. What do you think of National Socialism? Don't know anything about it. I'll have to check it out. Do you have a link to something that I can read about National Socialism? Sorry about my name, you're a troll. I am too, Sandalwood's 5. So Mad Blender, are you having a sad day as well? Okay, all these things are happening here. Here's some info on the WMAP mission, bro. Thanks. And then there's a link, so I'm copying a link out, y'all. If I disappear, it's because I'm posting a link somewhere where I can go and look at these things all at the end of this broadcast. So, also, I have been starting to put together, because I'm going to have these guests at Ghost Cabbage says, I have clinical depression and anxiety too. Maybe this is something that it would be, maybe this is something to look in, because I have questions now about it, and my husband, I don't want to say too many things about my husband without his permission, but I'm going to say that depression in our is something that we deal with in our household, and it's something that I'm often curious about, something that I don't understand, but I feel the need to understand it. And so that might be something to, just do some research and ask some questions about. Jesse says, insurance companies insist on a diagnosis to cover counseling, so many people are diagnosed this or that a bit flippantly. And my guess is that it's, to do them a favor so that they can get access to some resources, but it may inflate the numbers in terms of people who are actually clinically depressed. I guess that's what Jesse is saying. Yeah, definitely this is something that I'd like to look into. Lord Poo Poo had said, this is so There's so much depression in society because society itself is irrational. This is something that I found really interesting. If you look at our society, there's so one of the, I don't know, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist about it all, but there certainly seems to be an emphasis on um, focus on threats, right? Our politicians focusing on threats, our media focusing on threats. And if, every day you're hearing about the fact that we're, under attack, I can't imagine how that doesn't have some effect on all of us. And I'm not saying it's like direct, like, oh, I heard some news today that made me scared, so now I feel this way. But maybe with this constantly living under this and constantly feeling the need to function in a way that is normal or up to at least someone else's expectations, I imagine that has to have some kind of a detrimental effect on an individual and their, just view of themselves and their view of the world. Jesse says, yes, also simplifies the picture of mental health. Yes. Sandalwood says, irrational and patriarchal and cruel and capitalistic. Yeah, I think that we're on the same page in terms of what's being presented to us, right? Because I walk through my neighborhood and I don't see people, when I walk out my front door, I'm not confronted with people being hateful to each other. I'm confronted with people walking down the streets and trying to get where they need to go, and people who say hello, and people who are generally polite to each other and generally kind to each other. That's what I'm confronted with when I walk out the door. But I'm, constantly being reminded that we live in, a very harsh world, but I'm not sure where that harshness is seated necessarily. It's a theory we were talking about. We're missing so many things. Capitalism is irrational. Religion is irrational. Plank says, for me, so if you lack the capacity, the capability, if you lack the capability to be irrational, you are going to find living in those societies difficult. Ghost Cabbage says, I believe there's a genetic predisposition to it, and that stress is a trigger to episodes of depression. Hey, 1234 says, Lord P, what is rational? Arthur says, cognitive behavioral therapy is great. I feel like everyone should go. They should teach this stuff in elementary school. Sandalwoods 5 says, I'm oversimplifying. The chill streams help my loneliness, and these chill streams help my loneliness and depression. And are you talking about like the live streams? Yeah, I hope this is a place where people feel like they can decompress a little. I certainly try to go with the peaceful vibe, and I get a lot of that from you guys. It seems like there seems to be a fairly chill group that are drawn to these streams, and that's really, really helpful. Arthur R, I think CBT just lets people conform easier, unfortunately. I'm not sure what that means. Holly Patterson says, hey, I'm from the UK. Welcome, Holly Patterson. Lord Poopoohead, pure reason as described by Immanuel Kant. So I'll have to do some reading. Do you have a suggested reading, Lord Poopoohead, from Immanuel Kant that people can read to get a little bit of what you're saying? I mean, for the society system, I'm not sure where we are. I don't think so, Kearney. I learn a lot of coping strategies. Cognitive and behavioral therapy might pressure. Oh, okay. I think that, Kearney, you were talking, that's what CBT was. Okay. Sandalwoods 5 says cognitive and behavioral therapy might pressure people to conform to society. That's true. Jesse says, Kant is dry as dust. Get the cliff notes. Still, I mean, come on now. I'm sure I've read some in my background somewhere, but probably not a lot, especially if it's dry. Yeah, please do make some suggestions. What is better than capitalism? That's an interesting question. I don't know. I wish we could spend some time trying something else out and see. I certainly would love to try something else out and see if something else is better than capitalism. But it's a little bit like, what's better than what? What's better than anything that if you've only tried one thing, if you've only known one thing, then that question is meaningless. I don't know what's better than the one thing that I've tried, but it would be great to find out, right? It would be great to, especially since it seems necessary. It seems like that model isn't functioning very well, or it needs to go back to the drawing board or something. Lord, so there's, oh, yeah, LOL, Jesse, truth, and I think that was about Kant being dry. I would have to say, what is rational in society? You guys are going so fast, I can't read them all. I would have to say, what is rational in society is what benefits the most people. Rich, have you seen the red pill? Or have I taken it? Curious your thoughts on it. I haven't seen the red pill. Please post a link. There is, I mean, I know of the red pill from the Matrix, right? And then I know that the red pill is now used as people are kind of got red pilled or taking the red pill, but I don't know of any particular piece called the red pill. I did see Lacey Green's video on talking about being red pilled. It's a nonsense question. Not sure what that is, and that might be in relation to capitalism. You guys, we're moving so fast through different topics today that you guys, you have to say we need a reference, ampersand, capitalism or what have you, just so that we know what's going, what we're talking about. What happened to Tofurky's pepperoni pizza? I can't find it anywhere. I think they may have discontinued it. Hope not. Oh, I've never tried it. Plant goals. Speaking of pepperoni pizza, did anybody check out? Oh my goodness, Vegan Foot Soldiers video? Did anybody watch Vegan Foot Soldiers video? I think it was from yesterday, talking about. I think it was a troll video. But he made a video saying, I'm no longer vegan. It was Vegan Foot Soldier. And it was not his typical, he's usually, I think of him as the Benny Hill of the vegan YouTube community. I really love his comedic style, and I don't know that we necessarily have very similar politics. I know that we overlap about a lot of other things, and I think generally he seems like a decent person. But he made a video yesterday that I actually found kind of disturbing about, Plant Goals says that video was awesome. It was awesome. I also found it really disturbing because he's such a clown in the best sense of the word, really a clown, does really great clown work in his videos. But he says, that he's being serious. He says, I never troll. And first of all, when he says I never troll, I'm like, well, you do troll all the time. So I can't really take this seriously. But I was trying to listen to him and hear him seriously. And it was such a mind screw, because the whole time I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and trying to brace myself for what is coming. And in the meantime, he's inserting all of these messages. I'm just gonna say, please watch this. Watch his video. And now he's not Vegan Foot Soldier. He's Foot Soldier now, because he's no longer vegan. And then he says, these sausages are real, whatever that means, because anything can be a sausage. But he says these sausages are real, and then he eats something during the video that it's just kind of disturbing. Yeah, just go see the video. So people, okay, so it's getting some positive reviews. People are saying that it's trolling. I'm going to say that people should watch it on their own and decide if it's real or not. So Alberto, hello Alberto, welcome. Says, are you pro-capitalism? I don't know. I don't see how being pro-capitalism can be that useful right now. I feel like capitalism, I don't even know what capitalism really is anymore, because what we practice is what is being practiced in the world by the people who seem to hold a lot of power is just some kind of weird imperialism dressed up as an economic model. But I don't know if that's capitalism, right? If we're really just talking about this idea of a free market, whatever that is, and people introducing ideas into this market, and people having the opportunity to, like, you know, either benefit from them or not, or what have you, whatever kind of fluffy definition of capitalism that people accept as the truth, then yeah, that's probably cool. But what I see happening in the world is, this like mass accumulation of wealth through the exploitation of people on a massive scale. And if it's not people, it's the planet being like stripped to the core, and fracking and all of this stuff in the name of a few people making some money and calling it for the benefit of society. But society's not benefiting, right? And it's in some ways like the conversation that we're having about, mental illness. And again, is it ill? Is it illness? What I point out here is the individual functioning in a way that is beneficial to their instrument, the instrument of themselves, the instrument of their body. And what seems to be happening is that you have folks who are operating not in the best interest of the very planet that we live on. And that seems to be serving this thing they're calling capitalism, and I'm not down with that. So yeah, I'm not down with that. So like, I don't even want to have a conversation about capitalism, because really that's not the conversation we need to be having, right? And I understand that we kind of fold it in and we talk about it as capitalism, and capitalism becomes the trigger word, right? But really what we should be talking about is like, what is necessary for the maintenance of life on the planet. Like, let's get super, super rational. Let's get super rational and just talk about the basics. And I know that there are all these complexities, but ultimately we have to think about what will sustain life in the best way. And what we see being exercised as capitalism doesn't even ultimately benefit that privileged few, if it means the very planet itself is being jeopardized. So who really wins, under this model of capitalism that we exist under? I don't know. But maybe I just don't know that much. Maybe I just don't know that much about capitalism. Maybe I just need to go read another book, or have somebody who really, really understands it sit down and explain it to me, and also explain to me like what the plan is for, the environment not being, completely destroyed, right? Arthur R. says permaculture is one of the answers to our problems. I really dig permaculture. I wish it was easier for people to get access to the tools of to learn how permaculture works. I wish that there were like workshops being given in every community. Another effing book. Somebody's left. Read Naomi Klein. Oh yeah, I haven't read Naomi Klein. I've heard Naomi Klein speak. I've seen videos of Naomi Klein, and it's like Naomi Klein kind of just lays it out as just like, okay, here it is, right? But even without reading a book, I think most of us can just look around and be like, whoa, something's up here. The planet's not functioning right. The planet's not functioning. What happened? This disaster happened? No, something's up here. I don't know if it's man-made. I don't know if it's not man-made. But if they're saying it's man-made, and they're saying that there are things that can be done about it, we should be having a conversation about that. Maybe a little bit more of conversations about that, and less conversations about what economic model we're going to follow. What is your take on transhumanism? Who needs capitalism once we have merged with our technology? Transhumanism. I don't know. I mean, I went to see the new Ridley Scott Alien Covenant yesterday, and I think I'm gonna do a review of that. In fact, that might be my video for tomorrow, go see that movie and then come and talk to me about transhumanism. But the problem is that by the time the money from the top reaches the bottom, oh, somebody was about to say something. Plant Goals, you were saying something, and it's you guys are going so fast. It isn't worth as much. Um, okay. Oh, that's Lord Poo Poo Head. But by the time the problem, the money, it isn't worth as much. We've been relying on trickle down for far too long. It's not happening. Yeah, trickle down. I don't believe in that whole concept, the idea of trickle down. No. Trump voters are the least intelligent sheep out there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say that about everyone. Trump voters are the least intelligent sheep out there. They're just very uneducated, and Clinton voters are the more educated but still brainwashed sheep. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to make a big. I don't want to make a sweeping judgment of that. I'm disappointed in people who kind of think that voting Democrat or versus voting Republican is the answer to any of our problems. Really, yeah. So, but I don't want to also be one of those people who's like, I just haven't decided. I just don't think that the answer lies there. I feel like there are conversations that we can be having about like what's most essential right now, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with economics. It doesn't necessarily have to do with what's happening, in this country versus that country. It really has more to do with, wait, let's stop and take stock of what's happening on this planet. There are some things that, they always say that if like a monster came from outer space, we would all join forces. We would join together to fight the monster. Well, the monster's here, and we haven't joined a single force to do anything about it. And this is what's so confusing to me, because it seems like they're like talking about having something in common, a common goal in terms of the planet that is bigger than any of the small issues that we have to deal with. We have that. We have this thing, and it seems like it should be focusing all of our energy, but it's not. So what is that about? It's a total false dichotomy. Hey, Vegan Call Quest. People are in the house today. I hope you guys are having as great a day as possible. The illusion of choice, yes. The party system is part of the problem. Both parties have issues. We are marching to a future where we all become tech biological creatures. It's coming. AI is coming. Are we ready? You make it sound so damn ominous, Plant Goals. You're like, and I know you're trying to in some ways, and I really appreciate the drama and being a drama queen myself. But yeah, but I'm telling you, I went to see that Alien Covenant yesterday, and it's checking out. I'm gonna do a review about it. I'm not gonna do the review right now, but like I'm thinking the smarter technology gets, like really the smarter technology gets, the more technology might realize that the people is the problem. So like Terminator, like really the more I think about it, the more like the Terminator movies make sense, because like Skynet would, if Skynet was really this ultimate intelligence, it probably would look around and be like, oh, they're messing it up. I guess if I made them disappear, or at least got them under control somehow, we might be able to save the planet. I don't know. And I don't know if that's anyone's ultimate goal. Maybe everyone's ultimate goal is just to have as much fun as we could possibly have before we go out in a blaze of glory, what have you, not to bring anybody down on a Sunday morning. You get the bad guys or the not so bad guys, the slightly less bad guys. We need to deal with climate change. If nothing else matters. I'm with you. I just feel like that's such a huge issue. It feels like such a huge issue. And I understand, and that's what kind of one of the things that I try to bring into the conversations when we talk about race, when we talk about politics, understanding that these things, not necessarily as being divisive in and of themselves, but that there should be a way for them to exist, that these differences between us as cultures, as people, as genders, as religions, all of these things should be able to exist without us not, and still allow for us to be able to deal with, the major issues. And we see it happen on small scales in communities where, I've seen in a neighborhood where they were going to put like a trash dump in the middle of the neighborhood. Suddenly everybody is scrappy and out there and fighting and protesting and stopping that thing. So it seems to happen on like in on community levels, but just doesn't seem to be happening on a global scale where it seems necessary. I don't know. Think of how many jobs will be lost because of automated cars and semi trucks. Well, see, here's the thing: plant goals. What is a job anyway, right? What is a job except what is needed to make the money to be able to afford the resources that you need to live, right? So if all of those things are automated and we're able to get what we need without all of that additional human labor, then wouldn't it seem like we should then just be able to provide people's basic needs and make those jobs that will be lost less necessary to begin with? So, I mean, it's like if there were machines that could do everything that we all needed to do to live and then nobody had to work, then we would figure out other things to do to occupy our time. Possibly, hopefully positive things to do to fill our time. We could, still create art and, entertain each other and love up on each other, right? And we could do those things and it wouldn't be as necessary for people to work. In fact, a lot of the jobs that exist now are just people sitting behind screens, right? Sitting behind screens or teaching people how to sit behind screens. So I don't know. Trump just signed the largest arms deal in American history. Yes, with the Saudis. Yes, 120 billion. Yes. Yes, interesting. I keep thinking about that. I just keep imagining in 20 years we'll be talking about how horrible they are and how we need to, fight them. And people will have forgotten that we signed this huge deal with them, right? I don't know. I don't want to be such a naysayer. Planko says, Steph says, check out Amazon's model for its distribution centers. The more humans, the more churn theft. So automatic robotics correct this. Race, religion, and politics are nothing but major distractions. I don't know, Juice. I'm not down with you on this one. Here's the thing. Race, religion, politics, I think what we're really talking about, like when you talk about race, religion, and politics, what we're really talking about is culture, like people's culture. And there are groupings that may happen based on those cultures. Because I love culture. Like my culture doesn't really have anything to do with the color of my skin, right? It doesn't really have to do with my sexual orientation. It doesn't necessarily have to do with, and I say those things may be related to my culture, and my culture may stem from my belonging to those groups, but other people place me in those groups. Other people place me there, right? As an individual, I sort of am drawn to things based on how they touch me, right? And so those things become part of my identity, and I embrace them, and I have to throw them out there to the world to let them know, hey, I'm a this, so that when this is happening, I get invited, right? So when the thing that I like is going on, people know, oh, he wants to come to that. He wants to be part of that, right? Thank you, Matt Blender. And so I don't think that we should just throw out race and religion and politics and all of those things. I just think that we shouldn't. I think what we need to avoid is trying to categorize people based on belonging to any one of those groups, forgetting the fact that they belong to there are many different ways for individuals to identify. And just because someone might identify as African American, it doesn't say anything about me other than that's one of the, part of the multiplicity of Reggie, right? And you will not ever know the entire I don't even know the full multiplicity of myself, right? But I know the things that there are things that I do, connect with, that I do associate with. And so I have to put that out there, because if I don't put that out there, then I won't be able to partake in it. So those are just, there are a lot of positive aspects of it. It's when others say, well, because you're this, then I feel this, then you can't, or you have to be this other thing. And that's not true. So I feel like I just don't want to I don't want to be hating on culture, and I don't want to be hating on religion, and I don't want to be hating on race, just the fact that they exist, because that seems to cause problems with people who want to target race and religion and other aspects of culture and identity. I think the people who do the targeting need to chill the fuck out and just sit down and take a break. I don't want to say that I want to silence people, but clearly, like, if you have a problem with other people, if your whole reason for being is having problems with other people, right? If your whole reason to exist is to, want to see other people destroyed, then just chill, go away. I'm not down with that. You need to find another way to be, or I can't support you in that. And I certainly just don't think that I should erase myself because that's how because who I am or how I identify triggers you. I don't know. And I'm not aiming that particular at any of you, but like folks who deal that way. And so, so speaking directly to you, Juice, and obviously we can get on and rap about this. Oh, we're over time, but we're still going. Obviously we can get on and rap about this, but I do think that, just because it would make people's lives, just because people think it would make their lives easier if we did not have things like race, religion, politics to think about, I think that's false. Because people would find something. Why do you wear blue? It would be the people who wear blue. And even if we lived in a society where everyone looked exactly the same, people would find a reason to have a problem, right? And I think that having a problem, that video that Daniel Estrada, please really do watch it. Really do watch it. He explains so neatly this idea that we form our views of the world, and it helps us to make the choices that we make. And we need to have a very clear picture of the world in our minds to survive. And it can change, obviously. That picture can change, but in order to change it, it means that we have to risk letting go of, our safety space. So we have to leave the safe space of what we know now and move into another space, which likely is going to be more beneficial to us because it's a space that reflects the reality, but it was just a reality that we weren't aware of. And so when people are confronted with something new, it can be very threatening because it means that what I've been walking around with as the equipment of my life is not adequate to deal with all of the situations that I'm going to be confronted with. And it's not. But that's being, that's growing, that's maturing, that's being an adult. I don't know. So do I have a link to this video? There is a link to the video. Yes. Okay, so if I get lost, y'all, it's because I'm going in search of a link to this video. I will be back presently. Okay. All right, so this is one of the videos. So I'm posting, and this is one of the videos. This is the first video that I talk about, and that one is Daniel Estrada using our place to explain identity politics. And this next one is the video that I was just talking about, where Daniel Estrada explains social identity and the need for us to kind of, the place in our brain where all of these things, our understanding of society and ourselves and the way people think of us and all of that stuff gets put together in our brain. So that's the last video that I posted. So I hope you guys will check them out. I have no faith in our government. Arthur R says, and the more people making those changes and convincing others to make those changes can influence policy down the road. So beautiful things were getting said while I was in search of those. I ultimately think to make widespread change, we need to, this is Matt Blender speaking, we need to put policies in place to make that change. I can agree with that. I certainly don't think, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I feel like where we're coming, I think where our discussion is going is that we can't necessarily depend on an individual or even a party to be responsible for that. So how we do that is still, it's still left to be discussed. Man, y'all, I'm very full. I'm very full after our conversation today. If you go back, we were talking about changes each individual can make. Okay, cool. Thank you, Arthur. It was great being in space with all of you. But will the planet notice? Economist Gernot Wagner, I think, argues individual choices are meaningless. Only huge-scale changes in the end have real impact. I don't think we should rely completely on institutions. It's so, I mean, Jesse, I hear you. I mean, certainly these things begin with one, right? One person discovers a new way. One person discovers a new way. And so I do think that learning how to be different as beings and allow our minds to roam into new areas is very useful and very necessary, because as long as we are living as these same beings in these boxes that we've been told to live within, how can we ever think outside of those boxes to create those changes? Obviously, right? But then those changes need to be instituted on larger and larger scales. And I'm not of the belief that there is one way that is going to work universally, but it may work, in a community, in a landscape, right? In a particular type of geography, right? In a particular climate, right? In a particular type of culture. One solution may work and be very effective. And so I think, Jesse, sometimes in our desire to make changes on a universal level, we end up just oppressing other people. We just end up oppressing people who don't want that, and they know that that's just not going to work for them. And they're like, maybe we should have enough faith in people to understand when they say, trust me, I understand, but over here, that's not going to work. And let's not automatically label people who don't accept great ideas as somehow inadequate. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely, Jesse. I'm just saying we can't rest on our laurels of individual consumers. We need a revolution. I heard you say that. I heard you say that, Jesse. You know where I live. Arthur R says I'd sign up. All right, I'm not going to shout, y'all. I'm not going to put everybody on Jump Street, but I do think that we do need some deep and radical changes. We need radical change, and we need to become different. We need to be, as individuals, we need to become different, and we need to do that to create an entirely different space than the one that we're in. I think we are in agreement with that. Some of us here. Maybe that's why you guys showed up today for the live stream, and I'm really glad you did. But I have to bring this to a close, at least for today. Although the conversation is not over, this is just a pause. So that's it for this video. Those of you who will be watching this on YouTube, like it if you like it. Share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Everyone, love yourselves. Peace.